What does Coach Ryan D think about it when players head back to the CHL or the NCAA and forego their ability to play in the NHL? I think they're absolutely f***ing stupid. That's what I think. Matthew Knies, Maple Leafs prospect, picked number 57 overall in the second round, has decided to go back to the University of Minnesota because he says he has unfinished business with the Golden Gophers. Now, we'll get into all the reasons why I believe this, but first, why don't you go ahead and make a good decision by logging on to BetUS.com as the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs are showing up. Go ahead, use code HGS or the link down below in the description. Start betting on hockey, bet on the Maple Leafs to win the Stanley Cup, and see today's live game and odds. Make sure you're over the age of majority in your state or province. So this is an uncommon practice in hockey or in professional sports where players decide to return back to their school or they decide to return back to their junior club instead of signing a professional contract. So the Toronto Maple Leafs and Kyle Dubas wanted to sign Matthew Knies, the former second round pick, to an entry-level NHL deal. And we all know that these entry-level NHL deals can involve them going to either the Marlies or to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And it's very likely that Matthew Knies would have been moving into the Toronto Marlies, got some games near the end of the season, some pro experience, and that would have expunged his ability to go back to the NCAA and play. Now, who am I to tell you whether or not this is a good or a bad idea? Well, let me give you a little bit of background on myself. I work with some of the best players from age 13 to 15 in the country of Canada here, which I hear is not bad at hockey, in the AAA and the Prep League programs, as well as the provincial programs. And I have had players as good, if not better. I've had players that are better than Matthew Knies go through my programs and are now on NHL teams, have had first round draft capital, have had major success with teams. One of the best players I had the privilege of working with and seeing was Seth Jarvis. I mean, let me tell you, this guy was incredible. So I have a couple players on my resume. I've seen a couple players in my time that are NHL talents. I know what it takes to get to this league, and I know what an NHL player looks like. And I can tell you unequivocally, Matthew Knies is an NHL player. And if the draft were redone today, there's a very good chance Matthew Knies would have been taken in the top 15 picks. He might have even snuck into the top 10. He was a little bit of a late bloomer. Sometimes it's harder to evaluate the American players, and what makes American players more challenging than Canadian players, or sometimes what shoots Canadian players down the board, is just the difference between the NCAA and the CHL, or major junior as we call it as a whole. So let's go ahead and use, one of my favorite players ever, Seth Jarvis, and compare him to Matthew Knies, because one played in the CHL, one played in the NCAA. Both are absolutely elite stud players. Jarvis is better. Sorry, saying it, but Knies is pretty darn good. What makes them different when they're between age 17 and 19 right now in these spots is that you're going to play over 70 games in the CHL. I know it's like 68, but then there's going to be, tournaments and preseason and playoffs. If you're going to play in the CHL, you're probably going to end up, if you're on a good team, over 100 games in a year of meaningful hockey against very talented players. And remember, the CHL is age 16 to 19, and there's a couple 20-year-olds sprinkled in there for flavor. They're called overagers. Don't want to get into it. The NCAA plays age 18 to 22, roughly 23 if you count a red shirt year. And yeah, there's some 17-year-olds that can sneak in there as well. The big difference between the two leagues, though, is the game count. The NCAA plays under 30 games in a year. They only play on weekends. They're focused on practice and being in the weight room, whereas the CHL is focused on a pro-style system where you're on the bus, you're doing road trips, you're traveling, and you're playing against the best of the best. Why do I say the CHL is the best of the best? It's very simple. If you are an elite talent at age 16, you are going to play in the USHL or the CHL. And if you're playing in that league, you're going to get drafted to the NHL at 17 or 18. And then you are going to play in the NHL at 18 or 19 if you're an elite player. The best of the best in the world play in those leagues. Yes, there's guys like Kyle Connor that go ahead and play, or Owen Power is a great example too, that go ahead and play in the NCAA. Elite players can choose any path they want. They're elite. They're going to do what they want. But overall, the average and the statistics say if you are a better player, you play in the CHL specifically or the USHL, but I'm really gonna hedge this to the CHL. And that is because if you are this good, the fastest path to money makes sense. This all comes back to money. And I know all you sports fans out there, especially in the Toronto media market or anywhere, going, oh, there's more to life than money. And if they're good, they're going to get paid, and there's passion and there's this. Fuck off. All right. At the end of the day, nobody would be playing in these leagues if they were playing like the National Lacrosse League, where it was like, what, $25,000 a year max, average player $6,000 a year. I'd love to see NHL, NBA, or NFL athletes come out and go, I would do this for the rest of my life even if it was free. Yeah, some of you would do it, but most of you would be like me and you go to university and get a job. I would love to continue playing hockey right now at the highest level like I was, but one, wasn't good enough. And two, if I was offered a chance to make $5,000 a year or go to school and make a six-figure job, I'm going to go to school. I actually did that because I was pretty good at one sport back in the day and had an opportunity to maybe crack into one of those leagues that doesn't really pay you a lot of money, and I forwent it. So there you go, made my decision. Back to Matthew Knies and why this is a bad decision. So I'm setting you up down the path that the NCAA is just not as competitive as the CHL. The difference is you get older players in the NCAA and you get a lot of players in the NCAA that this is it. They're just playing hockey. They're done after this. They may play a little bit of pro in the East Coast League or go over to Europe, but they're done. They're getting their education. They're moving on with life. They're picking that six-figure job or whatever they have to pick on. The CHL players that play, most of the players playing the CHL made the team at 16, 17, or 18, and they are trying to take a shot at professional hockey. That is what they're trying to do. You don't play in the CHL for any other reason. You are trying to make the pros. So all of those players are hungry to make the pros, and if you have the opportunity to make money in this game, you are going to go to the CHL and try. What makes the NCAA so attractive is you can play till you're a little bit older. So guys like Brandon Tanev, which is a great example, can go ahead and take longer to develop, mature their bodies, and take their shot at the pros at age 23 or 24. Because you only get one shot at the pros. You're either going to take it at 17 and 18, and if you miss, that's going to be it. Move on to the secondary leagues. Or you can stay in the NCAA and not take your shot early and play a little bit later. Then if you're an elite player, you can play wherever you want. Matthew Knies is foregoing millions of dollars. I mean, the entry-level rookie contract is butted right up against $1 million. He is foregoing getting a paycheck, even if it's with the Toronto Marlies and it's not the NHL paycheck. He's foregoing his NHL entry bonus, hundreds of thousands of dollars, to go back to play 33 games for the University of Minnesota that he could do at any time. I understand winning a national championship is a big deal, but what is a bigger deal is taking 19 years, 15 years of playing, because you probably start playing at age 5, maybe 4, 15 years of playing, blood, sweat, tears, and hundreds of thousands of dollars of investments in his money and his parents' money, time, beatings on your body, and getting paid. That's the name of the game. The other key to signing this contract is if you can get a couple games with the Leafs, if you can get into that program ASAP, especially next year. It's not even about this year. It's about getting in there next year. If you can crack and burn that year of your entry-level contract, you're 1 year closer to getting your big payday. But now he's delaying everything by a year, and you may all be thinking that's not a big deal, but it is, because hockey is a violent game. Life is also scary. I understand we could all get hit by a bus at any point in time, but this is a dumb financial decision by Matthew. You're going to play 33 games plus the weight room plus practice. That's a lot of opportunities to tear a knee, to tear a hip, to tear a back, to get a concussion. Those are the most likely things that are going to happen to you in hockey, and you only get so many of those before you're done. You do not want to tear something, hurt something, or injure something before you get paid. So why are you playing for free, Matthew? That's bonkers. It is an absolutely terrible decision by you. Your family should be telling you that. Everybody, I know they want to support you, man. I know people want to support you, but it is not a prudent decision. You play in the NHL, you play in the AHL, you get as close as you can to that contract. They are not going to put you in a situation where you don't succeed. They are going to protect you. You are going to have to move into this game with men. You're a big man. You're a force. You're an elite player. Go get your money, because at the end of the day, it is better to get hurt playing pro hockey than it is to get hurt playing college hockey for free. And for those of you that want to use the argument in the comments, which I see all the time, and please comment down below, let me know this argument. But those of you that want to know, oh my God, getting an education, I'm so proud of you. You can always go back and play pro hockey for the rest of your career. You can always go back to school at any time. You don't age out of school, folks. You can go back at 40, you can go back at 50, you can go back at 30. If you're really key on your education, you can always go back and get it. There is nothing wrong or embarrassing with saying, I got offered millions of dollars, because that is the point. It's the reason we all go to work. And I took it. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Think about this for a minute. $3 million, one and one plus a signing bonus. You're going to say, I'm going to delay that. I'll wait. If any of you said you were going to delay it, you are not using a pragmatic version, and you're just not thinking clearly. That's just not the way. You're wrong. It's just wrong. You need to be able to set yourself up. Even 1 year pro hockey, then you get injured, is going to give you the ability to buy a home mortgage free, so you could go work at Cabela's or Walmart at minimum wage and still be able to pay your bills. Imagine you're living right now, if you're a homeowner, if you weren't paying a mortgage. Imagine you're living right now if you were able to buy a home rent free. That is what this man is turning down right now, to go back to school, to take one chance at a national championship at age 20. Now let's talk about his development as well too. How is he going to develop down there? Kyle Dubas said, hey, we know University of Minnesota's got a great development program. He's going to be fine. Wrong. They have a great development program if you're 18 and 19. A 20-year-old, it is law of diminishing returns. So now he's right in the middle. He's going to be playing against 21 and 22-year-olds. If you're 21 and 22 in the NCAA right now, you're not an elite player. That's just the way it goes. You still may make the NHL, but you're not elite. The elite NCAA players are 18, 19. So you've been there, done that. You've played against them. You've dominated them. You've been one of the best. So now you're just going to have another year of being even better, even bigger, even stronger, playing against theoretically now weaker competition. That's not the way to go. And for any of you that may think the NCAA is anywhere close to the AHL, it's not even in the same league. The AHL would blow up any team that is playing in the NCAA all day, every day. So the law of diminishing returns will apply. The only development Matthew Knies is going to get out of this league is to be able to be 1 year bigger, 1 year stronger, to run over a league he's already run over, to try to win a national championship, stay in the gym and lift some weights. But you could do all of that in the AHL or the NHL and get significantly better. There is no replacement for speed. You cannot play at an NHL game or develop NHL speed without playing at the NHL. That is why teams have to put prospects in, and we all as fans go, please put our first and second round draft picks in there so they can get experience, because you can't get NHL experience without playing at NHL speed. You can't get AHL experience without playing at AHL speed. It just doesn't happen. You got to play games, which is what brings me back to the point of Seth Jarvis and the CHL. They and he played games against the best. He played games at CHL speed, and as soon as he had the opportunity to play games at NHL speed, he played it. It only took him 10 to 12 games at the NHL to adjust to that speed level. He's on the first line of the Carolina Hurricanes. His trajectory was exponential. It is not a linear growth curve. It is exponential. When you join and play this game against men, and I know, I'm telling you, I know, I'm an expert on this. When you play this game against men at that speed, you are going to develop so much faster on that curve that it is just not worth it to stay in the slower or lesser leagues. There is no reason. You cannot convince me this was a terrible idea by Matthew Knies. The Maple Leafs will be fine. It's okay. He'll join in. The theory out of all this is he'll win a national championship, most likely. He'll join the Maple Leafs later. We'll never remember this anyway, and we'll move forward. But I want you all to remember, if he ends up blowing a knee, a shoulder, or a conky, this video is out there. I told you so, and I'm really sorry, but I'm not cheering for that. I want this guy to succeed. I just think that this was not a smart decision. I think the player, I think the agent, I think the parents, I think everybody, somebody needs to get in there and tell this kid, if you want to go back to school, you can go back at any time. I'm always proud of people that get an education, but we're here to work and we're here to make money. That is what you are looking to do as a young man. Bad decision. Bad decision. You let me know what you think of the decision down below in the comments.